Hey guys, it's Dasher Zach back with another review. This time, it's not a mouse, it's not a keyboard, it's a standing desk. At this point, you can see it right here behind me. I have assembled it, but I have not integrated it into my setup yet, as I want to be able to show off the functionality and some features of the desk without it being all cluttered and set up in the corner here. I'm going to talk about the features of the desk overall, give some quick thoughts on how the assembly went, how the functionality works for me, and I'll give you a before and after my setup with my current desk, which is very much stuck in place, an old IKEA desk that I think ran me about $250, and then how this standing desk sort of changes the game for me. So with that, it's time to find out, is this the perfect standing desk not just for you, but also for me? The desk came in two pieces, one being just the tabletop itself and the other being every other part of it, the legs, all of the internals, all of the accessories. Both of those boxes were relatively heavy, but everything inside of them was packaged extremely well and there was zero damage to anything. The exterior boxes had a little bit of mark on them just from being transported by whoever delivered this. I can't remember if it was FedEx or UPS, but everything on the inside of the boxes was in perfect shape. Always a risk and a worry I have when ordering something from a place like Wayfair or just something this large that comes shipped to your house. And as far as unboxing itself goes, you can see my methodology I use here to get the tabletop out. It's a lot better than the last one I did where I did it flat, so I don't know if this is optimal, but this is what I chose. So should you get this desk, feel free to copy me, make use of that. Otherwise, no real issues unboxing it. A very good job here from Flexispot. So just a quick overview, this is the Flexispot E6 Max standing desk. It's dual motor. I chose to go with a 60-inch by 30-inch desktop that does not have the curved front because that makes the most sense for me. I want the most real estate for my mouse pad and my keyboard when I'm gaming and when I'm testing mice. And it's also the same exact size as the current tabletop I have, so I know it'll fit right into my setup, and I know it gives me enough space to do my setup in a very comfortable way. As far as my experience with standing desk goes, I've been using the fully Jarvis for a couple years now every day for my work from home setup, and that's the only one that I've ever assembled. And I can tell you right off the bat, the assembly on this desk was much easier. I think it took me roughly 3 hours to assemble the Jarvis, and this is advertised at like 30 minutes to an hour, give or take, and it legitimately did only take me 45 minutes to assemble this entire desk, which is impressive. If you know me at all, I am not handy in any way, shape, or form. I guess I'm not terrible at the old IKEA instruction put together, which is just sort of similar to, but I mean, overall, the instructions were very clear. All the images and the instructions listed the exact piece that you were supposed to get, labeled by letter, which is awesome. I did use a combination of the provided wrench and my own drill, and believe me, that drill was very helpful. But yeah, overall, I started this out one night hoping I'd get it done before I went to bed. It was completely done and flipped easily before I went to bed, so I was very impressed with how quickly you're able to put this together. And interestingly enough, it seems to have the same overall functionality as the Jarvis. They just did a much better at making the assembly very simple. So here we have it again, the Flexispot E6 Max with the 60 by 30 bamboo tabletop here, which also matches the other standing desk that I already have in my room. Very high quality. It's not like an epoxy, like glossy finish, but there's a finish on it. It's very smooth, pleasing to the touch, not gonna be rough on the skin at all should you rest your arm on it. I'm gonna go ahead and demonstrate the max height of this, which is 50 inches. As you can see, we're gonna use a control panel here, which lights up very nicely, shows you the exact height you're at. We're gonna go all the way up to the max height, which at 50 inches is pretty ridiculous. Honestly, it gets taller than the $1,200 standing desk I have in my office that I work at, and this comes in at less than half the price of that, usually around $500. I'm 6 feet tall, so I guess if you're like 6'4", 6'8", maybe this height works for you, which is awesome. It accommodates people of all shapes and sizes, heights. For me, standing, probably the best setting is roughly, I would say 46, 47 and a half inches here. That way I can comfortably stand here, rest my elbows on the desk if I really need to, lock in for work, type comfortably at this height right here. Given this is the height I would work at, we can test the stability as I typically have two pretty heavy monitors and a whole bunch of equipment on there. It does wobble back and forth a very little bit, but there's zero risk of tipping here, I would say. For how extended these three-tiered legs are that are moved up and down with a dual motor, I would say this is pretty darn sturdy. Now let's check it at the height I would sit at. And realistically, I'm just going to match this to the height of the desk that I play all my games at. So that comes out to about 30 inches. And as you can see, when the legs are more compact and down here, this thing is sturdy as a rock. There's almost no wobble at all, which is a big improvement. My IKEA desk moves a whole bunch, and my ultra-wide monitor is flopping all over the place. My mic's moving, so that's not an issue I think I'll have with this desk. Should be a massive improvement. You may have heard how quiet the movement of the desk was there. It never reaches a level over 50 decibels, so it's not intrusive at all. You can do it honestly in a meeting with your mic on. No one ever really hear you doing it, which is a nice little feature. Can't say I haven't done that in meetings before. This also has a tensile strength of 28,000 pounds per square inch, which translates to, I don't really know, I'm gonna be honest with you, but the max weight is thought to be 330 pounds. You can see me sitting out here, moving back and forth, shaking all around. The desk is barely moving. I'm 180 pounds roughly, and this thing supports me no problem at all. You could realistically fit probably about two of me on here without an issue. And I doubt you'll have equipment totaling that weight on this desk up and down when you're moving it. Getting a closer overview of the control panel here, you can see the up and down buttons, as well as 4 memory settings. They suggest you use the first one for standing, the second one for sitting. You just hit the M and the sitting, for example, and boom, we're locked into 30 inches on the sitting setting. Memory settings are very easy. Kind of like that it lights up in case you're in a dark setting at night and you need to move this and you're not really guessing what's going on. Love that it shows the exact height there. And that's pretty responsive after you touch it. It goes up and down. It shows you the exact height as you're moving up and down here. It is made of plastic, but it feels like a very high quality plastic. It feels like it's very durable. Won't have any issues, won't break on you while you're using it. And overall, no complaints about the control panel from me. So the last thing I wanted to cover here is the cable management as my cat walks through the frame here. Obviously this is going to be standing, it's going to be pretty high up, so any cables that were dangling will be very obvious to you. The only one I haven't managed yet is the power cable because this is not in place. But realistically, Flexispot does a great job here. There's a bunch of sort of Velcro tape they give you to wrap all the cables with. Thank you, Ari, for running through my frame yet again. Anyway, and then there's these little clasps you can stick to the side. This one came off because I didn't do a very good job sticking it. Once you wrap those cables in the Velcro tape, you take these little adhesive wraps, stick them to the side. Your cables are managed perfectly. Barely anything showing or dangling. Your cable management job is very professional. It's the only finished entire assembly of the desk and this cable management job in about an hour. Super impressive work from Flexispot to make it that easy for you. So here you can see the finished product. Allows me to have a very clean setup, plenty of space on the 60 by 30 desk. I've even added some nice new speakers in the build process. A few things that I forgot to mention earlier. There's this nice thick roll of that like Velcro tape for all of your cable management. I didn't need too much of it myself. You can also put the desk on wheels, not something that I wanted to do because I'll be keeping it here in one place. There's also this rubber cable management strip, which I already had one of my own, didn't need to use, but a nice inclusion as well from Flexispot. But the only thing I'd like to do is grab some more cable management tools to get both the monitors, cables here to manage. As you can see, I added my own power strip here, as well as some cable management tray below. But overall, I'm very, very happy with this desk. Even with the assembly being easier than that of the other desk I have, this is just as high quality, if not a better desk. I'm very much enjoying it. And to cap it off, I'll give you a look at the desk at its full standing height. Pretty great all in all. I like to keep my desk tall when I'm standing. And with that, we'll see you.